Okay, this video is on how to use your worksheet in conjunction with creating these little color studies. Creating the color studies, you can follow the video that I've posted on chromatic transparency. All the processes are exactly the same. When you create your file, create a new file in Illustrator with 4 artboards, and the artboard should be 8 by 10, and I use a separation of 1 inch. What you're going to do is you're going to bring in the JPEG of the color wheel and bring in the PDF of the worksheet. Just place them in this order. Anything like that will work. Um, the way that I've selected we'll look at the split complement. The way I've selected my split complement is I looked at the color wheel here. So I'm using the colors blue, yellow, green, and orange. And what I did was, once I constructed the diagram, I would just select a section, and then I'd take the tool, the eyedropper, and I'd select it. And we know that it's a little bit off, so I've got to readjust each one. It's a little bit annoying, but that's how you do it. Um, and I went around and did this. So one of the things we know though is to make this successful, we need one dark value, one medium value, and one light value. So if we look at the yellow green and yellow orange, they're about the same value. So what I had to do was go to the yellow green, we'll select it here, and if I bring it back to its fully saturated hue, you can see that it's made of 100% yellow and 50% cyan. So to lighten it up, I hit the Shift key, select one of the sliders, and I'm going to bring it up to 50%. 50% yellow, and that leaves me 25% cyan. So that changes the formula slightly. So what I do to start out on the worksheet is I come in and I just select each one and I read the numbers that are in the CMYK slider. So this is the numbers for it, and indicate whether you've got a tint or a shade. If you have a shade, you're going to also be adding black. I haven't created any shades in here. So here's the formula for the yellow-green tint. It's 25 cyan, 0 magenta, 50 yellow, and 0 K, and I pulled it off of that. I select the orange, and there's the formula right there. It's 0 cyan, 50% magenta, and 100% yellow. So what I do is with this first section here is I select what's going to be hue 1, 2, and 3. I label it. So hue number 1 is blue, hue number 2 is the yellow-green tint, and hue number 3 is the orange. And I write the formulas down. That'll then allow me to calculate hue 4, 5, and 6, which are these overlapping hues. I'd really like you to do this as a good starting point. You might be able to eyeball these, but these are exactly what the median transparency would be between all of these intersections. So what I did is I put in the formula for mixing blue with yellow green. So blue with yellow green. So the blue formula, 100 and 100, the yellow green tint formula, just like this, add them up. So 125 divided by 2 is 62.5. So it's the average between these numbers. So the average between 0 and 100 is 50. The average between 50 and 0 is 25. So once I have that, I can select that area and I go in and I just adjust the sliders to those numbers. So that's all you do. So you calculate your hue number 5, which is the yellow green plus orange. So I've got the yellow green formula, the orange formula, which are again pulled from here, do the math. Now you guys hate math. The average between 0 and 25 is 12.5. The average between 0 and 50 is 25, and the average between 150 is 75. So I do that to find all these intersecting, and then to find the last one, it is an average of those three hues. So it's an average of 4, 5, and 6. So I write those formulas down. So here they are. I add them up and divide by 3 because there's 3 of those. So add this up. It was 125 divided by 3 is 41.5. This is 150 divided by 3 is 50. 150 divided by 3 is 50. So that's what gives me that formula. So that's exactly it. Okay. Now you've constructed them. You need to export them to post in your journal. So the way you're going to do that is I would save this. So first, go File, Save As, and save it as an Illustrator file. You want to keep these files. They may become useful. I've already saved that, okay? Once you've saved it as an Illustrator file, what we want to do is we want to export this file, and this file. And you're going to need to export them individually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go File, Export, and we're going to export these as JPEGs because we need to post them as JPEGs, okay? Now, what we want to do is we want to go select Use Artboards, and we want to do range. We could select all of them, but since we want to do them one at a time, the way it works is this is 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to export this. So I want to change the name. So I'm probably going to call this Split Comp. Save it to the desktop. Go export. Now, this is really important because I'm going to post it in my journal. I need to convert it to RGB. Said OK because it's been constructed in CMYK. And I would do that for these other files. So let me go ahead and export this one. So I'm going to go File, Export, and again it's a JPEG. Select Use Artboards and select Range, and then I'm going to go to, and I want to change the name here, and I'm going to call it Worksheet. Again, this one it wouldn't really matter because it's black and white. I could just say grayscale, hit OK. All right, and then I'm going to export the last one. And I'm going to call this one analogous. And again, I'm going to go Use Artboards, and this one would be number 3. Export, convert it to RGB, hit OK. And that's it. What would be really helpful is to then go into Photoshop and put these two files into one file. And again, when you save your files, make sure that the files, like the file that is the one of the two, make sure that it's no bigger than 1200 pixels on its longest side. That's a good way to just judge that you're not going to create something that's too big to put in the that. So that's it. That's how to use the worksheet. So get that done.